Welcome. I'm Kris Bryant, and welcome to my Patreon page. And with me today is the wonderful Finn Burnett.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
I am fantastic. I'm very happy to be here with you.
Thank you so much for joining us and for agreeing to being on our little Patreon page. Now, you are also a patron of this page.
I am. I mean, first of all, it's you. So how could I not? But second of all, it's for the animals. And pretty much once you say it's for the animals, I'm down.
That's right. It's like rain. Let's let it rain money for the animals, for sure.
Exactly.
Okay, so I know you through GCLS. I've known you for probably 5 years or so. And we're in a competition on who can give the better hugs. And I think it alternates between us. 1 year it's you, 1 year it's me. But there is an online struggle of who does give the best hugs.
I know Casey Richardson likes to kind of be a ringer in there sometimes and
Right.
say that it's her instead, but no, it's
No,
between you and I.
for sure. It's between us. So I did meet you at GCLS, and now you have a very strong writing background, and I wanted you to be on the show to kind of talk about, you don't just write queer lit, you write everything. So can you kind of tell everybody your background and what you write and what you've done in the past?
Absolutely. So I teach college. I teach early British Lit by accident, and I teach with an MFA program, not by accident. Because anyone who's ever worked in a college knows that if you're an English teacher and a class opens up, then they say come teach this, whether you've actually ever even read Beowulf or not. They figure you know how to do it. So I've become well acquainted with early English lit, from Beowulf to Shakespeare and everything in between. And I also teach for an MFA program, and I run the GCLS Writing Academy. I've been running that since 2015. And I'm in a doctoral program also for English pedagogy. So I'm very into academic writing
Yes,
as
you are.
well as fiction writing.
That's amazing. I want to take your class on Brit Lit.
Absolutely. You're more than welcome to do so.
And then, so do you ever want to just slip into a British accent?
No, I'm actually horrible at it, in fact, but my wife does lots of incredible accents. So I like to, she'll slip into the accents occasionally,
But you don't ever, not even like secretly, you don't ever
no,
like just slip
no, the
into.
only accent that I can manage is Southern, and that was because I was born and raised in Savannah, Georgia, so it comes naturally to me.
Perfect. Now you might be a little fast. You might have to slow down a little bit. I think things have slowed down quite a bit since
Yeah,
then.
it's true.
Well, I love everything that you do. I mean, as far as like, you write things that I could never think of writing. Like it's just, you write the stuff I want to write, but I always slip back into romance. Like if I
Right?
try to do anything creative in my books, my editor's like, "What are you doing?" I'll say something that I think is like really profound, and it's something you would read like, and if you go to school, like you would study a book, and like that one sentence I've written would be in that book, and my editor's like, "No," and she's
Yeah,
like,
it was
"No,
like
what are you
Hemingway's
doing?"
one true
Yes,
sentence,
right.
and they're like, no, this doesn't belong
Yeah,
in a
it
romance.
it doesn't, and I hate myself for that, but you do it all the time, and I think that's fantastic.
I do. I think that's why I love flash fiction so much, because it's so easy to be stunning in 300 words in a way that it's not easy to be stunning in 75,000 words.
I signed up for one because you were like, "Okay, everybody, let's do this. We're gonna do this," and I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna do it." So it was like 100 words. I'm like, "Fuck,
Yeah.
I could not do it." And like, I yours was amazing, and I'm just like, wow, that is a true grasp of the language, to know, because every word matters, everything makes sense, and I'm so fluffy that I there's no way I could get it down to 100 words. There's no way, no way.
Yeah, you can't have any wasted words. I'm giving a presentation on flash fiction. I'm actually giving 3 presentations on writing flash fiction this summer at various conferences, but one of them is at the Golden Crown Literary Society conference. So I'm going to throw that out there. If you're interested in learning more about flash, you
Sign
should come to
up.
my presentation.
Yeah, it's amazing because what you're doing, it's kind of like how I explain books. People always say, "Oh, I love this book, but I really wanted more of a backstory on, the character's relationship with her mother or with her family. And I'm like, that's not the point. You are literally jumping into somebody's life at that particular moment when they meet somebody and their life until they get together or whatever. And that's it. Yes, there's a relationship with the parents. Yes, there's a backstory, but I feel like people want so much in a romance book, and that's not the point. So, and I think that's why I'm so sensitive about words, because you can I write first person, and there's only so much story you can write in first person without just getting wonky,
Right.
truthfully. And so I love every word, and how it all makes sense, and you write such wonderful words, and I would love if you could actually give us a sample of your writing.
I know, and I'm just gonna tell your patrons right now that you sprang this on me like
I
30
totally
seconds
did.
before we started recording, and I am reading something that I haven't practiced because I didn't know about this, but that's okay.
But here's the
Um,
deal, like, who really practices? Nobody. I never practice my readings.
I
I
will
hear.
tell you this, my writing academy students practice their
Oh,
reading because
sorry.
I whip them and I say, if you go over 5 minutes and I have to ring the bell on you,
Oh,
I'm going to come to your house because that is so rude. So yeah, so
oops, sorry.
that's
Surprise.
yeah, I know. So now don't tell the writing academy students that you
No,
don't practice. Don't tell them that.
I won't.
Um, so this is a short story called "The Clothes Make the Man," and it is it's the foundation of a novella in flash that I'm writing. And a novella in flash is basically what it sounds like. It's a novella written all in standalone flash pieces. So everything has to fit together in some way, but they have to also stand alone. Like you could take this story and read it. So this is the one that started this project. I look like someone shoved the Venus of Willendorf into Benedict Cumberbatch's wardrobe. Designers think all fat men have monster necks. My neck swims in the opening at the collar, and if I weren't a rotund, middle-aged woman with gray hair, I'd look like a little kid trying to emulate his father. I yank either side of the dress shirt, willing it to close smoothly over the pendulous apex of my breasts. Gaps appear between buttons, even with a minimizer bra. You're too old, too fat, and too feminine. My mother, dead 10 years, still lives in my head. Have you tried the grapefruit diet? What about Weight Watchers? An extra large sweater covers the popping shirt buttons, and the striped bow tie lends a Mr. Rogers air to the ensemble. No one will ever love you if you're fat, Arthur. No one will ever believe you're a man with a body like that. On the tube, I stand for a woman I see regularly. As she gracefully folds her skirt under her legs and sits, I say hello. I tell her my name, Arthur, and it comes out smoothly as if I've never been anyone else. She blinks, surprised. I didn't realize you were American. When I correct her, I'm Canadian, she brushes her hand across her brow in an exaggerated gesture of relief. Phew, thank God. She grins, and for a moment, I drift into a fantasy of asking her on a date. But I'm in an in-between world because I'm not a woman, but even I can't believe I'm a man. Even in trans meetups, the others are young, slender, and naturally androgynous, and they're kind, but it's the kindness one gives an elderly aunt when she invites you to her house for dinner. They're so careful with me, God bless them. The woman watches me, waiting for a rejoinder to her banter. Hair has slipped from the loose bun on her head and brushes the shoulder of her blouse, and she's so very much a woman, so obviously a woman. More people get on the next stop, and I push away from her, pretending I'm being swallowed by the crowd. A different ill-fitting shirt, another day on the tube. The clothes make the man. What does that make me? This time, the woman is already sitting. She stands and touches my bow tie, a smasher in orange with little blue whales. My favorite color, she says. It matches her dress, and I want to make a charming quip about taking her to prom, but all I can think about is the way my shirt has rubbed painful rashes under my armpits, so I turn away and lose her in the crowd again. My syllabus drips with largely ignored female poets, and I assign hours or weeks digging through paper letters looking for talent among the scrawls of women deemed unworthy of digital salvation. A defiant student defending the greatness of his favorite male writers strides angrily from the classroom when I refuse to change the assignment. What would you know, he scoffs. You're just a woman. Just a woman repeats in my head for the rest of the day. In subsequent classes, I lose my train of thought, not able to remember the words I'd planned the night before. The woman on the tube again, and why have I never noticed those lovely lines around her eyes? She's wearing purple today. The vibrant colors of her wardrobe contrast the grays and blacks I wear to hide my body. She's tired of waiting, and this time she asked me for a date. I open my mouth to tell her about my clothing and my fatness and my feminism. I can't go out with her unless she understands that I'm not how I look, that I don't even know who I am. My mind races through my wardrobe and the wait time for surgery and how every binder makes it hard to breathe. And she watches me as I stare at her. And the only word that comes out of my mouth is yes. Nothing in my closet fits. I pop a button struggling into my best shirt and toss it aside in tears. I pick a brilliant yellow bow tie with a martini glass print. Ties are easy, they're one size fits all. I thought shopping for clothes was difficult in Canada. In London, it's impossible. I pull a suit jacket over my shoulders. If I don't move, if I keep my elbows close to my side, if I don't squat, I'll get through the night without crumpling my facade. She's already at the restaurant, resplendent in the sunburst of yellow that perfectly matches my tie. I pour her wine, she touches my hand. The food is delicious and I manage not to spill any down my front. She laughs at my joke and we make conversation. I'm a professor, I say. I teach 19th century literature. Her fingers rest lightly on the too long cuff of my shirt. I'm Charlotte, she says. I'm a seamstress.
Oh my gosh. That's amazing. See, that is like brilliant. That is the writing I strive for, and I'm never allowed to write like that. That's amazing. It's
It,
like it tells the whole story in
yeah.
3 minutes. It's perfect.
Yeah, it's meant to stand alone, but after I wrote that one, I thought, oh, I have this whole life of Arthur, and it starts from when he's in college and dealing with his mother who just is awful and goes through his favorite professor who accepts him as he is and a girlfriend who breaks up with him because he wants to transition and yeah, I've totally fallen in love with Arthur, so I'm really excited about this project.
That's the stuff in 20 years, kids are going to read in high school or in college. They're going to read that story.
I
And
hope
it's going to
so.
be I mean, that is true literature. It's beautiful.
And I
Absolutely
hope I'm
beautiful.
still alive when that happens.
I hope so too. And then I can say, I know that. I was there. I was there for the reading. So I love that. I love that. Now,
Thank you.
have you always wanted to write? Did you wake up when you were a baby and said, I'm going to write? I mean, how did
I
this work?
did. I did. I wrote my first short story when I was maybe 4 or 5. And then I wrote actually a book of poetry when I was 7, and my brother illustrated it. My mom bound it for
Oh,
us.
that's
And
awesome.
yeah. And then I wrote all through middle school and high school, and I was always the favorite student of the English teachers and in the advanced English classes. And then I got to my first year of college, and so many people told me, well, you can never make a living writing. You can't be, you're not good enough to make a living. And I just took it all to heart. And I wish I'd known, like, if I could tell any young people right now who are writing and someone's telling them you can't make a living as a writer, I'd say just do it anyway.
Yeah.
Because I stopped. I didn't even bother. I didn't try publishing. I didn't try submitting, and I didn't write again for almost 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wrote in I wrote in elementary school. I found my first award when I was 11. I
Nice.
found this creative writing award, and paper award, and had like, I'm sure they printed it, had like, mass printing, and then they typed it because it was way back before computers. So
Yes.
like my name is typed on there. But then, when I got to high school, I went to newspaper. So I started doing journalism, and that's actually what I went to school for originally.
Okay.
At University of Missouri, was because they're most known for journalism. And then I just hated the way that it became so sensationalized, how journalism just turned into, let's get the story regardless of how the people are. And so I had to bail. And so I switched over to creative writing as a major.
And
And
thank God for us that you did,
well,
because I'm not really that into reading news articles, but I am into reading, hot erotica that also has kittens in
woo!
it. So
Well, thank you. And I really didn't think I had it in me either. I mean, I always wanted to write a story, and I really didn't know how to go about doing it. And it wasn't until, like maybe 10 years ago when I picked up Lesfic, or actually like 9 years ago, I picked it up, and then I was like, maybe I can do this. And so it's so funny because my whole life, I say my whole life, the last 9 years of my life, I thought that my first submission and only submission was to BSB, and it's not true.
Okay.
I got turned down by another company. I know.
Wow.
I know. So this is good gossip. So like this isn't going to get out. This is just going to be us.
Oh
Us,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
the
yeah. We won't,
patrons.
right. They won't tell anyone.
So, and I didn't even notice this. I was looking in my emails for an email that one of my friends, Karen, sent me. So I typed in Karen, and Karen Callmaker came up. And I'm like, what? And so I looked, and I had submitted to Bella, or yeah, I think it's Bella.
Okay.
At the time, I mean, this was, you know, way back when, 2013. And she said, sorry, no. And I had no recollection of that at all. And so I truly thought, I put it out of my head, you know, because I didn't know anybody. And I mean, I did not know the people names,
You blocked
nobody.
the memory because it
Well,
was so bad.
apparently, and so, and then, you know, and then I got on with BSB, so that was great. But this whole time, I always thought it was BSB, and wasn't until a few months ago I was looking for an email from Karen, and I ended up finding this rejection letter.
Wow.
Ooh,
I think Karen Callmaker should buy you a donut or something next time.
or a drink, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me this: what is your favorite thing about writing? Like, why do you do it?
I honestly, my favorite thing is that one perfect sentence, the one true sentence we talked about before. That I love when I craft something that when I finish it, I feel like I was gut punched by the writing, and it doesn't happen as much as I wish it would happen. I wish it happened every time, but it doesn't. But when it does, it's just that's what I love to read, and it's what I love to write. So it's yeah, that feeling, just that knowing that you crafted something so powerful that
Yeah.
it just like someone has a physical reaction to it.
Yeah, like your story. Like I had not heard that before, obviously. I mean, this was the
No,
first time I heard it. And I was like, don't cry. Don't fucking cry. Do not cry. Because
you're one of the first to hear that because that's not even like out there yet.
so I thought it was great. It was really, really good. I mean, I've always been impressed with your writing, but yeah, that one kind of got me a little.
Well,
Got me a
I'm
little. So
glad.
yeah. So
I'm glad.
it'll be awesome when it gets out there to everybody else in the masses, and then obviously our patrons when they hear it, they'll be impressed too. So good job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, difficult questions. I have some difficult questions here for us.
Okay. All right. Yeah, you wouldn't let me like pre-see these ones, so
No.
I'm all like on edge here for this.
So usually, here's what I do. Usually, what I do is because I'm going on vacation. Like I'm like everything is last
I
minute. I'm
heard
getting
you're
ready to
like
leave. Yeah,
out of
I'm
here.
out. I'm out. I'm leaving Friday at noon. I pick up the car at 11:30. Gonna throw everything in it, and I'm hitting the road. So I am.
That sounds exciting.
Yes.
So that sounds good.
Driving to P-Town.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice.
Right.
That's pretty awesome.
That's gonna be crazy because I'll have Molly. It'll
Nice.
just be nuts. But okay, so I normally give questions ahead of time, and I really didn't give you the list of questions that I ask people. You know, that's why everybody seems so cool. They're like, oh yes, I remember, you know, oh this they know because they have the questions ahead of time, but I really didn't give you the questions ahead of time. So
No, but I like that because there's like literally no way I'm going to come off as cool anyway. So now we have an excuse. So
put you on the spot. Put on the spot.
all right, I
Okay,
can do it.
here we go.
Okay.
Dogs or cats? You
I
have
mean,
to
are we
pick.
assuming I have to pick one?
You have
Okay,
to pick.
then I'm going to say cats because
Ah!
Gordon's sitting next to me and he would probably beat me if I said no.
He would be very upset.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a really hard one for me because my whole life I have been a dog person. And
Yeah.
then when I was in my 20s, I was taking guitar lessons, and my guitar teacher said, hey, I found these two cats and a mama cat, or I found these two kittens and a mama cat in the trash. Somebody had thrown them in one of those big dumpsters.
Oh,
So he and his neighbor crawled inside to get the cats. And so he talked to me. He kept sending me Polaroids. I worked with him. So he'd bring in Polaroid cats of these, or pictures of these cats that were just like crazy and wild and just like, rawr.
they were like,
And
come get us,
I
Mommy.
know. So I'm like, sold. So I took the little black one, and the other one, it was a long-haired gray, and she scratched the neighbor, so they had to quarantine her for 2 weeks. And during that time, I
Oh,
took the black kitty home, and she had
okay.
already established dominance by then. So when then
Right.
the other kitty came in, they fought all the time. So then my guitar teacher kept that cat.
Okay.
So I kept Raven. And so then I had cats, and I'm like, I'm not a cat. I don't know what to do with cats. And it turns out I love them.
Yeah, you fall in love.
Uh,
That was the opposite was me. I have been a cat person my whole life. And then I met Brutus at a shelter in the Virgin Islands, and he was, like that big. And I was like, A, I'm not a dog person. And B, I'm really not a small dog person. And they said he's not going to get any
yeah.
bigger. It's going to be a little toy dog. And of course, 14 years later, he was 65 pounds.
Yeah.
But he was
Yeah.
my soulmate dog. We just lost him last year, and he was just like the best dog of all time. I mean, all dogs are the best dog, but
Right, for sure.
he was my soulmate dog. So
Yeah, that's how I feel about Molly. And this is kind of like what, we're at the end of her life, and we know that. So that's why we're kind of taking this road trip, so she
yeah,
can spend time with us and then go to the beach and hang out at the beach. And so I know, like, when that time comes, that's going to be,
yeah,
I'm going to go dark for a while. Like, I'm not going to talk to people because that's not a good,
it
yeah.
is. These geriatric years, as I call them, with
Uh,
Bruce, they're so full of joy and heartbreak, like
right.
just on the daily.
Yeah. And the thing is like Molly is so spunky and happy and playful. And she's like super playful. She's 14 years old, and she has the body of a 900-year-old dog because she's also on so much medication,
Right.
because she is crippled. So, I mean, it's just like, I'm excited that at least people out there get to meet her
Yeah.
before she crosses the Rainbow Bridge. And I've been trying to prep myself for it, because I always think it's going to happen, and then like she'll live another year, and I'm like, okay, it's going to happen. She'll live another year, and I'm like, this is great, but I'm dying because I'm like, I don't know like how to feel, and
I know.
and
I
it's just going to
know.
take, the thing is I think for sure her body's not going to last as long as she will, and that's
Yeah.
the problem, and I have, you should see like what all I have for this trip. I have a stroller, a pet stroller, like that has netting so she can be inside, and have a cooling blanket for, because it's going to be in the 80s. And so I have a pack and play with a memory foam mattress for her to, like, if I leave the
Wow.
place, she's like in there. And then there's a car. I mean, there's so much. It's like I have a toddler,
I know.
I
I
love her
know.
dearly. So I guess if I had to say, I would have to say I'm a dog person. But
Yeah.
but for sure next time I'm going to get bonded kittens.
Yeah.
For sure
We
they need to
we
be.
we're gonna go a few years we're
Right.
gonna let Gordo live out his life, and then we'll decide. But I can't make fun of you about the stroller. We were walking down the street one day, and Joy, when we first moved here, and Joy said, "Why is that guy staring at us?" And I said, "I don't know. You'd think he'd never seen a couple of obvious lesbians walking a cat in a stroller before."
Oh, that's great. Yeah, it's you, and especially in P-Town, we're gonna fit right in.
Oh yeah.
Everybody
Yeah.
look at my awesomely cute dog. Come over.
Yeah.
Like, she's a chick magnet. My
The
dog is a
queers are
chick.
gonna swarm,
They
for
will.
sure.
Okay, so we decided it was going to be cats.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, if you could change one thing about your life, what would it be?
I would not have to worry about money ever
Yes,
again.
money.
So that Joy didn't have to work, I didn't have to work. Just yeah, everything else. And Ray Spangler and I have had this conversation before, where we both believe that we're so blessed in every other aspect of our life that we'll never win the lottery, because you're not allowed to have that much
Right.
goodness. But boy, yeah, I would definitely not have to worry about money.
Right. I think, people who say money is the root of all evil are the people who, they, yeah, exactly. So
Yes.
I feel like it would certainly give us a life that we want. If I won the lottery, even like 2 million, not a huge amount, but enough for me to like slide into retirement. I think 2 million is good cash. That's what
Yeah.
I want. 2 million. For sure I would write full time, because I don't want enough money to where I don't want to write. It's one of those where I still need to be disciplined.
Yes.
Enough money to still be disciplined, but still be successful at just purely writing. That's
Yeah.
my goal. That's my goal.
I think I would still write no matter what. Like there's this book, Cry the Beloved Country by Alan Payton, that's taught in basically all middle school English. And many years ago, I saw an interview with him, and someone was saying, "Do you ever like hate that book because none of your other books achieved that worldwide international fame?" And he said, "No, because that one book has allowed me to write all these rest of these books that aren't selling that great." I'm like, that would be, if I want enough money to live on the rest of my life, that's what I would do. And I love teaching, love my students, just in case anyone's
Right.
wondering. You know, but I would probably keep one class, teaching one class, but I would write the rest of the time.
I feel like I would, if I had more than that, I would travel too much. I say too much. I wouldn't give myself enough time to write. I feel like I
Yeah,
would get away from that because I'm too busy traveling. I'm too busy doing this and being on this tour and doing this. And I feel like I wouldn't give myself enough time to write,
good
give
point.
myself. So I know this about myself because I am very undisciplined. As you and I well know, and we discussed earlier,
We did.
not my thing. Yeah, it turns out like I'm a true pantster in life and everything, and Finn is not. So
I am not. I don't know if you'll be able to see this because of my
not at
background.
all. You're
No,
disappeared.
damn. I have, oh, here.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
This is the summer planner because I'm off this summer. So
Still pretty full.
in the fall, but I find if I don't plan my day down to like half-hour increments, I won't get everything,
It's
especially during
amazing.
the semester when it's like when I'm just so busy, I cry on the regular, you know.
We have BSB like classes and stuff, every so often. I forget them, every single one. Carson will send an email out, hey, this is a reminder, tomorrow night we have this. Cool, got it. And like I'm watching TV, I'm getting caught up on Mayor of Easttown and stuff. And then all of a sudden, like the next day I like, oh my God, I totally forgot this.
Yeah.
All the time. I have no schedule. I have Alexa tell me to give Molly her meds every night at
Right.
9 o'clock. That's it.
Right.
Like she should tell me everything else, but I never know if I'm going to be home or not.
Yeah.
So it's pointless for me to do that other than like when I know I'm going to be home and it's going to be for Molly. But yeah, I'm completely unorganized. I'm a true pantser. Like I said, the only time I ever am organized is during my day job, because
Right.
I have to. I have to get
Right.
the numbers right or people die. Not that bad, but I mean, it's engineering, so I got to get it right.
Right. So you put all the organization into that,
Right,
and then
exactly.
you can only give so much.
Exactly. So, okay. So, are you living your best life?
Yes, without a doubt.
I think that's true. I think,
I really, yeah. I'm married to the love of my life, which is, it's, people always say that marriage is work, and it's not. Like the rest of the world is work, right? So your relationship is your safe space. And so yeah, I'm living my best life. I'm married with like the most supportive person in the world. I like my house, I garden, and I watch Murdoch mysteries and write. So, like, I don't really know how my life could be better except, maybe having an international bestseller or one of my books become adapted to a movie or something. So
right.
that would be nice.
So you live in the middle of nowhere, Canada,
Yes.
and you take a mule to get into town. And
Pretty much,
yeah,
yeah. Yeah,
um,
a moose.
a moose. Yeah, that's true. A moose. Sorry, moose. To get into town. And here, my thing is now that I'm so involved with everything with life. I mean, I'm we talked about social media and how important social media is to us, how we use that to let the world know how we're doing, what we're doing, what we're working on, just to have that connection. I would have FOMO big time if I moved out to the middle of nowhere, Canada. I'd probably have a better life, less stress, but I think like I'm trying to figure out a way where I can go to Las Vegas, go to Clexicon right before Women's Week in October in P-Town, like opposite sides of the country, because I have this fear of missing out on everything. And I wonder, like, does that, do you ever have that not really anxiety, but just like gosh, I wish I could do this or I wish I could do that. And this is where the money thing comes in too. If we had that $2 million.
Yeah, it definitely does. I know last year, well, 2019, I guess, so almost 2 years now, before COVID started, I had 4 different Canadian writing conferences that I had been selected to either give a presentation or be on a panel or read. And so I was already like, I'm like, this is gonna be my year. Like I'm here
Ah,
in Canada now and I'm gonna make myself known. And then boom, everything collapsed. So I definitely had that year of wow, I really expected to have some things. And I came from Lansing, Michigan, which has a huge lesbian community. So and a lot of my friends were close enough, like I was the midway house, so like they would come and hang out at my house. I was like the little prancing pony and Bree from Lord of the Rings, which we have our connection there. And so I miss having people. I haven't found a community here, and I do miss that. I'm kind of a homebody, and so one thing I loved in Lansing was I did get to spend a lot of time alone, but when I wanted it, it was always there, like outside my door.
right,
And getting to conferences is really expensive from here. We're in the middle of
right.
nowhere, and even
Yeah,
getting to an airport is awkward. So I definitely do have FOMO. I don't think about it a lot, but definitely when things happen and then the pictures
yeah.
start showing
I
on
know,
Facebook, I'm
yeah.
like,
Yeah,
oh, I want to be
exactly. I know.
there.
I get that way too. And I know that, it's a small part of our lives, but it really isn't. I mean, it's kind of what we write, and then we want to see our peers and we want to see our readers and meet them. And it only helps you to get in front of people. And I was the same way. 2020 was my year for sure. I
Yeah,
had Temptation come out at the beginning of the year, and that was such a big hit. I was rolling into 2020 going, yes, this is going to be my breakthrough novel, and everybody loves it. It's going to be great. And then here comes
yeah,
COVID. And I had 2 other books come. I had 3 books in 2020 because that was going to be my year. And COVID
yeah,
said, no, it's not.
no.
It's not your
And
year.
it's not just getting to see each other, but I met you at GCLS, and now there's another like new friend that I haven't met that I won't meet
Right. Right.
now,
Exactly.
and so yeah, I think about that. Like so many of the people that I love the most in this world came from either GCLS
Exactly.
or another conference.
Yeah, I for sure found my people with the writers and the readers that I have that I've met over the last 7 years of my life for
Yeah.
sure. Those are I'm with my people now, and that's why I get so anxious because I miss my people. I live in the Midwest, like smack dab in the middle of like, but I don't even know what to call this place. I mean, it's
Right?
like it's not gay friendly at all. I only live here because it's cheap, and my parents live here.
Right.
So, I've been kind of taking care of my parents for a while. My mom actually just had surgery last week to get her port in her arm for dialysis.
Oh,
She's having to
okay.
start dialysis. So, I mean, there's a part of me that's like, I just want to go somewhere else, somewhere in a bigger town and have a bigger voice. And I don't want to leave my parents either. It's kind of
Yeah.
like they're at that age where, they're going to need somebody around. I hit my kind of like my high point of my writing career now. And now is when my parents need me the most.
Right.
I kept them safe during COVID. We went shopping, got all of their stuff for them for like almost a year. My parents didn't leave the house. Gosh, I can't even tell. Like they did not leave the house at all for 3 months.
Yeah.
So, and then they finally got out, but they didn't like go, like, it was weird. Like they didn't actually go out until, I don't know, like January. Like they would just go out to get gas or something. It was never anything. They didn't go into stores. They had like doctor's appointments and that was it.
It was such a strange, it's
Oh,
still a strange time,
right.
but it just, yeah, now it's kind of become our normal. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So I kind of went off on that. I'm not even sure what the original question was, but we sure had fun talking about it.
it
Our
was
great,
important.
awesome year. Yeah. The year that never happened for us that we really wanted
Exactly.
to.
That's a great name for a story, though, the year that never happened.
For sure. I can make up shit and say it worked. That in 2020, that's when it happened.
Yeah.
Never happened. Okay, so I love this question.
Okay.
It says my internet connection is unstable at the moment. Oh,
Yeah,
there it is.
you're a little unstable.
Okay, a little bit, yeah, a little wonky. I love this question. It's like if you What would be your superpower if you could pick a superpower?
Hear me, you froze up.
Okay.
Okay, can you see me now?
Hi. Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
So you asked what would be my superpower?
Yes. What would be your superpower if you could have one?
I, oh gosh. I mean, and I can't cheat and say like I would have the power of the Q from Star Trek where he can do anything at all. Like it, I guess I would probably pick that I could automatically tell if people were trustworthy or if their intentions were good on first
That's
sight.
interesting. I've not heard that yet. So I guess that would be like knowing somebody's truth or knowing that if they're lying.
Yeah,
Like,
and not even necessarily like being able to read their mind or anything, but like if
yeah.
you go to an accountant, you can automatically know if this is going to be someone that's trustworthy, or if you're standing next to someone in line at a bank, that you would have that sense if they're not, a good person or something.
So like okay, so you just read this most amazing story, and this is the lamest superpower out of everything you could have said in the world. That is the lamest
But just
superpower.
think about it.
That's called just being human and like being able to read people.
You would be able to solve, you would be able to prevent bank robberies because you know someone's about to rob the bank.
Would
Yes,
you?
of course.
That's a bad superpower.
I'd be like, I'm Miss can tell if you're trustworthy person.
No.
So yeah.
That's just called your gut, your instinct.
No,
That's what that is.
you would have absolute surety. So if you're standing in line at the bank getting ready to rob the place, I know it.
So, well, but then, really, I mean, I would just be like, yeah, I'm too old for that.
And then then it would fit in with my whole thing about wanting to be rich, because you're going to have people to take care of that money for you. You don't want to go to some accountant that's going to embezzle all of your money. No, I don't have to worry about it because I can tell if this person's trustworthy.
Well, I would travel. Like I would be able to transport. So like I could come up there and see you. So like all my costs would be gone, and I could go home. I could transport home to sleep, and I would never need a hotel. I would never need anything. I mean, and you could go to the conferences for free.
Okay, so I'm going to change my answer then, and I'll take teleportation as well. But that's not really a superpower. That's something you can have with Star Trek. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's true. That for sure. Good point. But yeah.
And then, we might be standing in line and like somebody is getting ready to get your autograph or something, and I can tell that they're a stalker and they're about to like, sexually assault you or something, and I'd be able to like jump in front of them and stop them.
That's true. That's true. You could be like a bodyguard type.
Yeah.
Maybe so. Like I'm kind of scrappy though. Like it's like I'm scrappy.
Yeah, that's true. You're actually like, it would be more likely that you'd beat somebody up for me than that I'd be able to beat somebody up for you.
Oh yeah, I'm mean and I'm feisty and I fight. I can like punch. I'm a girl who can punch.
Yeah,
like, for sure.
Yeah.
And it was funny because at my old job, true story. So my old job, the boss, the owner of the company, he used to do karate with me. And he was doing like round kicks. He was doing that, and so I was blocking him, and he broke my finger.
Wow.
Yeah. So he broke my finger on that, but and I played it off like it was no big deal. But I was like, hey, okay. I was like, ah. So I could fight until I got hurt, and then I'd be
Yeah. Joy would be more likely the protector in our relationship. Yeah. I know that she looks like small and everything, but she's
scrappy.
Like a jiu-jitsu person. So like she can, throw me over her shoulder and stuff like that because she knows all these moves.
Right. See, and I feel like fight or flight, I would be the fight person for sure.
Yeah.
I just feel like, okay, it's I have to do this. Like my whole life I've been training for this.
Yeah.
Just like everyday life train. So let's see, what else do we have? Is there anything you would like to talk about? Anything at all? What's coming up for you? Like what do you have in the works?
Oh, okay. So I'm in limbo right now with a bunch of things.
Okay.
I have like a short story in a speculative fiction flash contest. I have a short story in a British flash contest. I have, another flash in something else. I'm submitted to an anthology for a different flash thing. So I'm kind of in like the I've put everything out there
Mhm.
mode. And I've recently applied to kind of have an online apprenticeship at this place called the Banff Center, which is up here in Alberta. Um, well, Alberta, not up here because I'm in British Columbia, but I had to send in some my work, and if I'm accepted, then I work with a professional, a literary writer who will help me kind of whip my novella into shape. So they have a really great history of
Okay.
putting out phenomenal writers. So
Because I feel like you're the person who would do that for somebody else.
I'm still, like I love to have feedback from people who can make my work sharper, like I think that that's the key to always improving your work is to have people that can read it critically.
Mhm. I feel like I can't go back and read my stuff because work is evolving. Like even your books in print, they're still evolving. So I
Yeah.
can never go back because there are things I want to change, things I would say differently. And so I feel like, once that story is done, I can never go back to it. And I because you you grow every day, you learn things and you're like, oh, I would have said it this way. Or, you
Yes.
find yourself saying things differently in future books. And you can see how people who read our books and read our stuff can actually see a growth. You see how people always say on Facebook or Twitter, like this person's really grown as a writer. And I like literally I can see it happening like to in my own stuff as well as other people who write,
Yeah.
consistently. So I feel like it's evolving. It really is. Even when it's dried on the page and closed covers, it's still moving
Always.
around. Yeah.
Always. Like the best thing you can do for your writing is to write more. I mean,
Right.
I never
Yeah.
stop learning. I'll take workshops all the time that I just come across that I think will help my writing.
I probably should get into more workshops, and try to improve the craft. Sometimes I feel like it's like, well, because it's first person, and I feel like there's only a handful of people who really like excel at that. And it's and I've written in third person, and it was such a struggle for me. I'm super, super proud of my first chapter in Lucky, but then the rest of it was just kind of meh, because I had to hurry up and reach the deadline because it was like Lucky is one of those, the first chapter, if you read it, it sounds like something, oh, this would be something you would read in a book 20 years from now in school,
Right.
for school, just that first chapter, everything else is like, oh my God, I have 2 months to finish this. And then I just like wrote it. So,
Right.
because I put myself in that situation, I do it all the time. I procrastinate like crazy. So I probably should take some master classes and things just to know how to manage my time better and how to say things better. And a lot of times I will stop. If I'm writing a sentence, I'll write just a normal sentence. She glanced at her across the room. Okay, that is a horrible sentence. So let me restructure this to make it sound, a lot better than what it is. And I think if I do that with each sentence as I go, um, I'm doing that more. I didn't do it at the beginning of my writing start. I just basically got the story down and that was it. And so
Right.
now I feel like I'm going through and I'm making it a lot smoother, and I think Ashley has really helped me see how to write better and just, say what I want to say the right way and not some weird way and like take out the one sentence, the one thing that I love the
Yes.
most. Just like, nah, this doesn't belong here. No.
Yeah.
So,
It's you always learn from other people. I wouldn't have this novella happening if I hadn't taken this one workshop with an author named Grace Palmer. And really, in that case, it was just that she would give us prompts and then she would have us write for 10 or 15 minutes. And that short story, the clothes make the man, came out of one of those 15-minute writing sessions,
that's pretty
which is
cool.
what spurred the whole idea. So
Yeah. I think I guess that's true. Like when you're in a room with a lot of people and you are specifically talking about writing, I think it sets a fire inside of
yeah,
you to make you want
yeah.
to, oh, that's a great idea. I should do that. Or, I get that. I need to do that. I need to remind me to do that more.
All right, all right. We
Good.
can have a writing date. I do those with Kimberly
Oh,
Cooper
sweet.
Griffin all the time. We get on video, we
Nice.
say hi, and then we just type away with each other for an hour.
That's awesome. I will totally do that. I need to because I'm writing a book now and I only have 10,000 words. And actually, I'm not even at 10,000. I'm at like 9,600. And it's the good news is it's not due until September 1st. So I have 3
Okay.
months to write it. So that's good. I've kind of like, but during that time, I'm going to have to edit always. That's going to
Yeah.
come back through, and that always takes 2 to 3 weeks. So for sure, let's do a writing date. Include
Yeah.
me next time, and
Absolutely.
we can, so I know Kimberly. I can just, hey, how's it going?
She's
Do this.
cool with threesomes, so it should be fine.
Like, who isn't cool with
I mean,
threesomes?
really, come
Come
on.
on.
And it's us. I mean, Finn and
No,
Kris, I mean, really.
exactly. It's like, yeah, everybody would want this threesome
Exactly.
for sure.
Exactly.
All right. Well, it's probably close to dinner time for you.
Oh yeah.
So I'm just thank you so much for being here and talking to us. And so now we get to know more about Finn.
I've really enjoyed it. I
It
always
was
love
fun.
the time I spend in your company. So thank you for
You
having me.
wonderful. Thank you so much for being a patron and for doing this for us. And we will talk soon.
Perfect.
Okay, take care of yourself.
Bye.
Bye.